Peace be with you. The fasting month is right around the corner, and I would just like to take this opportunity, by the will of Allah, to remind each and every single one of us that this month should be a month of fasting and not a month of feasting, right? There's a difference between fasting and feasting. What do I mean by that? You see, more often than not, after we've had a long day of fasting, we want lots of food. Like we want to eat as much as possible, right? But that's not what fasting is. Fasting shouldn't be about making up for the meal we missed. Rather, it has to be eating less for the sake of Allah, to grow closer to God. So we cannot just go around and eat as much as more than we'd eat if we were not fasting, because that would absolutely defies the whole purpose of the fast in the first place. Allah tells us in the Quran not to be extravagant, right? And you shouldn't eat too much, especially after a long day of fasting. And let's be fair. We're hungry and we can't wait to enjoy food, and we enjoy it less since we haven't since you know that saying that you don't really appreciate the things that you have until they're gone. So the fact that we were able to stay away from food for that long makes us desire this food all the more. But it should be within, of course, a lot of boundaries, a lot of boundaries, a lot of boundaries, right? There should be boundaries. It shouldn't just be about, this eat all you can kind of, meal, right? And unfortunately, we all make that mistake. And the mistake is having our eyes are bigger than our stomachs, right? So even before the fasting day is over, we keep on making those plans about how much we're gonna eat, about how much we're gonna enjoy. And we have that long list, and we check this and we check that and we check this. People who are married, husbands would often ask their wives to spend the whole day in the kitchen cooking some yummy food and do nothing but, right? And that is a mistake, because this is a month that should be dedicated to reading the Quran and to, growing closer to Allah, right? So it's not just about food and eat all that which you have missed out during the day. That is not how it's supposed to be. It should be fasting, again, not feasting. Now, that doesn't mean that we should be eating, scraps, that we should barely eat. That's not what it means either. But it should be, like I said, there should be boundaries. There should be boundaries. There should be a certain amount of food not to exceed, right? For example, let me give you an example. We shouldn't eat to the point where it becomes hard to move and you can't even get up from the kitchen table, right? And even if you do and you manage to, then you have to go pray, but your belly is about to it's huge, right? Your stomach has tripled in size. It has tripled in size. It becomes so hard to, just walk, right? Let alone praying, right? Since after the meal is done, usually this month is a month of more prayers, right? And many people do observe the night prayer, which is not part of the night prayer as in the obligatory prayer that we pray, but the night prayer is actually an extension of the night. since we as Muslims believe that there's a specific time during the night in which prayers are they're very emphasized. Even in the Quran, those who pray at night, you would see that it comes back, right? It's something that is quite common to find in the Quran, right? That a lot of people who are praised are praying late at night. But the problem is, if you've had too much food, you're not able to pray. And sometimes some people would pray, but it's hard. It's difficult to move. So what do? You pray, but you stand up lazy. And that is a big problem. Let me tell you why. God says in the Quran that the hypocrites, when they stand up to pray, they stand up lazy. They stand up lazy. So in that case, then there's not much difference between a hypocrite and a believer if they both are lazy while standing in prayer, right? And of course, may Allah protect us. Of course, I do realize that this is different, and you don't obviously want to be lazy, but it's what you ate before that is basically that does not agree with you, because now you have to pray. This is the time for remembrance of God, and now sounds like the food that you ate, that you consumed before, is going to come back to haunt you, so to speak, right? So let's keep it simple. And I'm not suggesting that anybody should not have their fair share of food, rather. Again, we should eat what we're able to, and we should praise Allah for what He has given us, the ability to eat, to be able to eat. And may Allah help us feed all the people, the poor people all around the world who have less than us in terms of food, and who deserve that food, right? We're all deserving of food, but some people haven't had meat for a very long time. And in a lot of countries, unfortunately, people don't even eat all that they have. So a lot of it gets thrown away. And I would like to remind my Muslim brethren that we're not allowed to waste food in Islam. If you do not finish the food that you have for that day, you can store it in the fridge and eat it at some other time, but do not waste food away, please, because it is not fair. It is insulting to poor people, and Allah did not bless us with food so that we could just throw away whatever remains. So may Allah have mercy upon you, upon all of you, and hopefully upon all of us, rather. And let's make this month, the best fasting month of Ramadan we've ever had, by remembering the point of this month. And again, fasting, as I mentioned before, and I'll mention it again, is not about staying away from food and water. Please don't be fooled. It's not about being like the poor, though it could be a way to kind of understand them in a way. It is not the whole point of it, because poor people, unfortunately, some of them don't have as much as we do. So it's not even about this. It's more about going closer to God, to Allah. So by being fasting, we're observing one of Allah's commands, that is to fast. And not just that, let's not forget to pray. And my brothers and sisters, as I said many times, and I'll say it again, prayer is even more important than fasting. So if you fast but don't pray, that is just not right at all. You should pray first and then fast. And may Allah give us the ability and the ability to fast, and to grow closer to Allah, and to become more, what is the term? To become more pious, to become more righteous. Oh Allah, accept our efforts. Peace be with you.